Well, let me start by saying thank you very much, Laura, and thanks to all of you for being here this morning. And I can already see that we're practicing seating charts according to the church scenario. If I was in Minnesota, I would say the Lutheran doctrine, but since I'm not in Minnesota, I'm not going to say that. But let me start by saying good morning on behalf of the entire University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. It is certainly my great pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to the 7th year of the AgTech Innovation Summit. And I don't know about you, but it is a very, very, very good feeling to be able to come together again this year in person. And I realize that the past 2 years have really demonstrated a lot. It taught us a lot about ourselves. It's taught us that we can do a lot remotely. It has taught us that we can continue to foster relationships and collaborations virtually. And it has taught many that doubted that higher education and ag-related institutions couldn't move fast and nimbly. We've shown that we can turn on a dime if we have to. And I can tell you this is very, very gratifying. After nearly 2 years of being very quiet and a lot of solidarity, and sometimes to me it felt like being in solitary confinement, while some people love the virtual environment, that's not Robert Jones, that's not what I was made for. And so I began to realize how much I miss and really value the energy that's created when we can come together in person. And just as a side note here, I just think that there's no better place for us to reconvene our face-to-face gathering than here at the University of Illinois, here at Memorial Stadium. So I know that this is kind of an unusual room, but this is a great room and a great, I think, forum for us to come back together again. And as Laura alluded to, you can fact check me on this if you want, but I'm almost willing to bet you that in 2020, this was the last public gathering that I participated in. Because if I remember correctly, it was a Wednesday, and Thursday morning I had the dubious honor and task of going to President Killeen and the rest of the chancellors in our 3+2 meeting, and tell them that we had been reading and following everything that's going on regarding this SARS, COVID, whatever it was, and that we had evidence that it was critically important that we shift to remote learning. So that will be 2 years ago tomorrow. And so we've endured a lot during this time period, but I can tell you, there's one thing that happens during the pandemic, and that is the things that you really value. They don't get stalled. If you're fortunate and if you're strategic, they get moved all along and they move to the next level of excellence. So it's my great pleasure to welcome you back to the AgTech Innovation Summit, and to do so in this stadium in a very, very big way. It really is a personal pleasure for me to take part in this event, and I think I've taken part in it every year since I've been here except one. I think some of you know that I'm in my 6th year as leading this great university. And as chancellor, I find myself speaking a lot of different types of groups and a wide range of events. And most of those events, most of those gatherings, and most of the comments that I'm asked to make are really kind of tangential or not related at all to my so-called academic area of expertise. And as was mentioned, I'm really excited to be here and always enjoy participating in this event, because I did start my career as a crop scientist and spent the better part of 34 and a half years at the University of Minnesota. And I took that job because it was a new position. It was one of the forerunners, if you will, for multidisciplinary approaches to driving the sector that we all care about, and that is the food production sector. So for more than 34 and a half years, I ran a research program there with the sole purpose of using basic and applied research to improve crop yield, to improve the yield of major cereal crops by clearly defining for everyone and providing the baseline information even before the word was coined. We didn't have, it wasn't part of our lexicon to talk about global climate change the way that we talked about it today. So I framed my research around understanding what are the underlying physiological, molecular, biological factors that allow crop plants to be more resistant to high temperature stress and water stress. That is what we now call global climate change. So you can see from that, I hope, that agriculture technology and innovation has been the touchstone of my career, and it has been the thing that has anchored me to higher education institution, and the thing that has really anchored me, because there is nothing that's more fundamental to the future of innovation and economic development of this country, the nation, and I think the state in the world, than this ag sector, and particularly the focus on ag technology. And I'm glad, as Laura said, that ag tech is the fastest growing sector, and I think is clearly one of the most important sectors. So it's always joyful for me to come together and to come back home to be again among people that I clearly understand the value of your work. And it is very, very exciting once again to be here. And it is you, those of you that are in the audience, that are so absolutely critical to the future of agriculture, innovation, and economic development for the state, the nation, and the world. So if we're going to innovate, if we're going to continue to revolutionize this sector, it will require a combination of collaboration between entrepreneurs, the private industry, the public sector, university researchers, growers, and producers. And this university, and I will go so far to say this community, is at the physical and intellectual intersection of all of these partnerships. It really creates and requires an integrated ecosystem, if you will, across all of these sectors for us to move forward. This summit grows in size, and I would add importance, every single year. And not even a pandemic that has basically changed everything was able to disrupt the momentum and the progress of this AgTech Summit. It has become abundantly clear to me since I joined this university in 2016 that whatever the future of agriculture, innovation, and development that may lead this world forward, the path of that future is going to run inextricably through the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and through Central Illinois. So I am certain that this means that we're going to have some amazing conversations once again, and some important new connections are going to come out of today's event as occurs each and every year. Agriculture, technology, innovation, and research were the very first priorities of this university, the University of Illinois, when it was founded 155 years ago. And I remind you, we were among the original 34 land-grant universities. And so, to put it succinctly, I think it is very, very loud and clear that this remains a hallmark of excellence for this university, and it is certainly in our DNA, and there is nothing that's more important to our future as a land-grant university, as the largest university in the state of Illinois, and one of the world-class universities that has a fundamental responsibility to educate more people and to do it better and to continue to innovate around how we must step up and lead the world. And I can't wait for you to hear more about what Stephen Long and Don Orton and colleagues have been doing. That is a prime example of how this university has stepped up and used biological agriculture-based technology to provide the best opportunity to bring about a significant increase in yield, not only of commercial crops across this country, but staple crops along the world. So food security, addressing that and feeding the world is at the core of what we do. And I could not be more proud to be in my 6th year of serving the best university in the world. So thank you for allowing me to be with you today.